Hello again, witchy people. I'm classing this as a HedgeWitch view. It's also a bit of a witchy rambling. I was doing some research on basically witchcraft. And it occurred to me, and this sounds really, really silly, but it occurred to me, I have never looked at it from an outsider's perspective. I am just the way I am. Although my mum is now a born-again Christian and my father, when he was alive, was Jewish, I wasn't raised in that faith. I was raised to be kind of, this person I am. So you could say that I was born into witchcraft to a certain extent. I was raised to be very accepting, and from my father, you accept all faiths, all religions, all people. You don't base hatred on a group or a genre. If you don't want to like somebody, don't like somebody, but don't like somebody because you have a reason to, okay? Don't just hate someone because they're a certain colour or a certain creed or a certain race, religion, whatever. So that's just the way I was raised. And my mum was very open to, well, like I've said before, ghost hunting, tree hugging. And my grandfather taught me a lot. That's my mum's mum. Taught me an awful lot about folklore and some magic and palmistry. And he was not raised as a witch either. I think his parents were some of the very first Salvation Army members. Anyway, I'm going completely off topic and off point. Okay, I wanted to kind of make you realise that I'd never looked at witchcraft or witches from an outsider's perspective for how they, people other than witches, see us. And that was kind of brought home to me today when I happened to look up, first of all, there was a question. I was searching for something, associations and correspondences in magic. And it said, question, what do you think of witchcraft and witches? So I clicked it and it took me onto this page where a woman who I felt had got the wrong end of the stick slightly. Her name was Silverclaw something. I can't even remember. Her name doesn't stick. What she said wrote. What she wrote stuck. What she wrote was, all witchcraft, all witches are Wiccans. And I took offence at that. Not because I'm offended by being called a Wiccan, it's just that someone who describes herself as a Wiccan priestess should know that for the part, all Wiccans are witches, but not all witches are Wiccans. That's like saying that, I don't know, Jews and Catholics are the same. Okay? So there was that. But from an outsider's point of view, I then came across this, what are witches? And there was this whole, I'm getting comfortable now, I'm getting ready to ramble even more. There was a whole list about how witches are people who do harm to others. That shocked me. If you do magic or manipulate energy for your own benefit, you are a sorcerer. And if you do magic to enhance the life of you and those people directly around you, you are a wizard. But the whole fact that witches are evil. We only do things, we manipulate energy to harm others. That's not the only thing I do. I'm not saying, I'm not admitting to using magic to harm others. I try not to. I always understand that there's give and take in the universe. And there is a balance that must be maintained. And if you take from something someone or something is going to lose out. That there isn't, things don't appear out of nowhere. You can't get, there is nothing for free, as my dad would say. But this whole witches are evil, witches only do harm, not only did it offend me, it really got me thinking. Because I had, like I said, this is kind of mind-boggling for me at the moment. I have never looked at it from the other side. I've always been the one inside the room. I've never been outside the room looking in, wondering what the hell's going on. I've always been inside the room. This has always been my life. And it really did, like I said, it blew my mind completely. Mind blown, absolutely. But it got me kind of intrigued. When there is a friend that I've known most of my life, and although she's very much into signs from angels and signs from the dead and spiritual communication, she always does this when she mentions, or she comes into like this room is where most of my witchcraft items are, that are specific. Obviously there's stuff all around my house, there's salt lamps and herbs and all sorts, but in this room I am sat in now, my herb cabinet is here, my altar is here, my bookshelves are here, because it's just a nice place to keep them. I have books in other places, but for here is where I keep a lot of stuff. I have a craft room where I also keep a lot of stuff. Anyway, whenever she goes past anything of mine that's even slightly witchcraft related, or hedge witchcraft I should say, related, she does this little shudder thing, goes, ooh, spooky. You're doing your spooky stuff. You're doing your witchy stuff. Like I'm doing something really mysterious and evil. And I'm not. Witchcraft isn't evil, mysterious. Witchcraft just is. I'm not saying that there's no such thing as, I don't like calling it black magic, dark magical acts, dark spell works. Because magic isn't defined by good or bad. It just is. It is defined by the person creating it. It is defined by the person who is manipulating that energy, which is basically what magic is. Willpower and energy. It's trying to manipulate the world around you by focusing on the energy and trying to manipulate the energy. It's a really simple way of looking at it. But how do these other people really see us? Do they really think we are all, or for the main part, do they really know nothing? Are they that, I was going to say illiterate in some ways, but that's how I kind of feel. That they have this whole idea of, oh, if you're a witch, you're this. If you're a sorcerer, you're that. I'm surprised in this article that I read that the word warlock wasn't mentioned, to be honest, because that's another word that really gets right up my nose. And I think as well, it was just like you see, I am flabbergasted somewhat. But they had these historical and reasons for why everything's called this, that and the other, and I thought, you know nothing. You know words, but you actually understand nothing. And I really hope that most people outside of the craft community aren't that blind, that stupid. It's just, and I know that was rather offensive, and I apologise. I don't mean to be offensive, but how can someone be that unlearned and write this whole big page about what they believe witchcraft is? It just really ticked me off. Like I say, it got me curious, because I do hope that other people don't see us that way, but people outside of the craft do not see witchcraft in that way. But I guess Some people do, but how many of them do? Anyway, that's it. I was, like I said, flabbergasted, absolutely flabbergasted, mind blown, nearly speechless. And I just had, I've got so many things to catch up on. I've got at least 3 more baneful herbs to do. It was just this, to be told that or to read and to see that someone else's opinion was witches only do harm. That is their only role. To define witchcraft, it's something that does harm. And a witch is someone who it does evil and harm. And that a person who manipulates energy for their own betterment is a sorcerer. And I suppose a lot of people wouldn't mind being called a sorcerer. I do. I am what I am. I mean, I'm sure that Christians nowadays don't define themselves in the same way as they did in Roman times. You know, I mean, it's a different world. So historically, there may be facts to what this person was saying about witches all being evil, but I don't think so. Because if you think about people having reverence for the world around them and respect for the world around them, and noting things by season, by moon phase, by weather, and creating this folklore and these legends that they built their lives upon, their way of life, that is witchcraft as far as I'm concerned. For me, that is witchcraft. It's not all to do with magic. In fact, it has very little to do with magic in some ways. And you can date this back to prehistory. And yet, according to him, all witches are evil. I mean, did he just have some weird conversation with King James I or something? I don't know. It just annoys me that he obviously didn't look into how. Obviously, one of the main things that I know a lot of people have had this quoted to them by fundamentalist Christians. I'm not going to say Christians because it's not normal Christians, it's fundamentalist Christians. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. The Bible never did say that. I think the rough translation is thou shalt not suffer one who poisons with herbs or poisons with plants to live. You know, you do not. You know, someone who poisons and kills someone isn't allowed to live. Not specifically related to witchcraft or witches. There was just a whole mistranslation thing as it came down. From Hebrew to whatever, Hebrew, Roman, English, whatever. But the original Hebrew was totally mistranslated. And I think that's where maybe this person got their information from. But he was a professor of certain studies and he got it so wrong. But yeah, so anyway, once again, I'm rambling. I keep on saying that's enough now. I have other things to do. Anyway, that was it. That's my witchy ramblings and HedgeWitch view. I think people need to. I have the respect and dedication and reverence of other people and other races and everything else to learn something about them if I'm going to talk about them. So why can other people not have that same respect for me and my choices in life? I would dare not, I would dare not say anything about the conception of Jesus or how Abrahamic religions and the Christian God created the world. I wouldn't, because I don't know enough. I haven't looked into it. So I wouldn't make assumptions about another person's way of life when I know nothing about them. But they are doing this about us, about witchcraft. And I think I really should be quiet now because I'm just going to keep on rambling on for ages. Anyway, that's it. That's my HedgeWitch view. And it seems quite funny that I'm actually saying, oh yes, we are not doing one, but people who poison with herbs, and I'm just doing this whole series now on baneful herbs. Historically, yes, herbs and poisonous plants were used to kill people. Doesn't necessarily mean that a witch did it. A witch may have had the knowledge. Doesn't mean to say she did it. Just because other people come to a witch for knowledge and information doesn't mean that then what that other person does is the same as what a witch would do. Oy vey, as my dad would say. That's it, I'm going now. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening. If you think I'm a wee bit crazy, leave me a message. I'm quite open to the fact that I'm a little bit cuckoo. And what are your views on how outsiders, people outside of the craft, view us witches? What do you think? I'd love to know. Ping me with a video that you've done, or leave a comment and let me know anything. Just, I would love to know what you think other people think of us. That's it. Thank you for watching. I'll be back soon. Bye for now, witchy people.